So there's an update on the child tax credit monthly checks for kids. There is an update on additional money coming for those that receive Social Security Administration benefits. And there's a whole bunch of other daily news that we're going to get into today. So let's go ahead and jump right in. I'm still in Las Vegas for my birthday today. Today I turned 40. And Casey and I are celebrating. I've run into several of you from my YouTube community while here in Vegas. So a big shout out, and just wanted to say thank you guys so much for coming up to me on the street and saying hello. But let's go ahead and jump right into today's update. President Joe Biden is reviewing new opportunity to lower the gas prices. Two lawmakers have put forward new legislation that would suspend federal gas tax until next year. Experts estimate that this elimination in the form of a tax holiday would bring the price of gas down by about 19 cents a gallon. And they would try to make it so that the oil companies in no way would be able to say, hey, if it came down 20, there's room for 20 cents of profit, let's increase that. So they would have to figure out how to work with big oil in order to make that tax savings remain a savings until we can all get through these ridiculously high gas prices. Right now, gas in Vegas is about $5.60 a gallon. Now, the good news is that from the 3 states that did gas suspension tax or a gas tax holiday, it is showing that the oil companies did not raise prices in those areas. And so that's exactly what we want to see. We want to see that reduction or that savings be a true reduction and a true savings. And according to the data here, that is the case. Now, the main issue with this proposal that the White House is dealing with is that it is going to remove about $15 billion in gas and road taxes that the federal government won't have. And so that may end up leading to the inability to do certain projects, repair certain bridges, things like that. But honestly, I think it might be okay right now, given the environment we're in. And I say this for 2 reasons. If you can't get the gas prices to come down, what point is there to these roads? People, the majority of the population is now wondering, how do I get enough gas in my tank in order to get to my job, to make money, to just put into my gas tank? And so if people can't get to work, that's going to be a huge drag on the U.S. economy. Secondly, you'll remember I reported last fall that the Biden administration had bipartisan support from Republicans and Democrats, and they passed $1 trillion in infrastructure spending. So $15 billion, if they took that out of the $1 trillion or even used a little bit more, that's plenty of money that's already bypassed Congress and is ready to go. That's already ready to play with. And so they could certainly use that in these emergency situations that we're in order to do the American people a favor. We've given so much money to other countries. It's now time to help the American people. And so there's $1 trillion literally sitting in a bank account right now that they haven't deployed into the U.S. economy that they could definitely do something with. Now, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen called the idea worth considering. While Biden said he is considering a gas tax holiday, he also said that he plans to review the data with his economists before making a final decision. I would have hoped that they would have made a final decision by now, and they haven't, but it does look like they are reviewing it now. Now, it's sad that it's coming down to removing tax on oil when Biden continues to look for ways to get oil from all these other countries and not from the United States. And I've been thinking about this, and I don't know why there's a difference between pumping oil at home or getting it from another country, except for maybe to say, hey, we're keeping up with the green agenda by not pumping more at home, but we're pumping it from other countries, right? So it's kind of hypocritical if you think about it. And in fact, Germany just announced that because of everything they're dealing with, all of their coal plants are coming back online in order to generate more energy. So one of the driving European countries behind the Paris Climate Accord Act has had to break that in order to produce enough energy. And so, we just have to deal with the situation that we're living in right now. As more Americans are starting to question what really happened with the 2020 presidential election and January 6th, some people are now starting to lean more towards saying Donald Trump had a hand in this, while another segment of the country is actually strengthening their desire to have Trump return to the White House. So it's been very, very polarizing. It's been interesting to read from the far right websites and also from the far left as I try to find that middle ground, which is where most Americans lie, right in the moderate Democrat to conservative Republican. But we'll just have to see what the final verdict is on that. Of course, Trump is putting up his defenses. Why didn't they call for the National Guard when I told them to? Why wasn't there more security on that day? Why was there only 50% of the police population that day? So they're still working through this, and you can watch those live broadcasts of the January 6th situation. While Trump critics argue that there has been no real evidence of mass election fraud, Republicans in the state of Texas had a meeting and they declared that President Joe Biden is an illegitimate president, that they're saying that they no longer accept him as their president. Now, Texas has done this before where they threaten to cede from the nation and go do their own thing. And so this is kind of a form of secession where they're saying, we're so unhappy with this president that we're voting to not consider him our president. So things are getting weird, right? Like there's this underlying fear. Are we going into another civil war? But if you think about it, we kind of are in a political civil war right now where there's so many people with strong feelings about abortion and strong feelings against abortion. There's election stuff, the other side of that. There's, taxation, not taxation. So things are becoming more and more polarized here in the United States. And I don't know that that's a good thing. I feel like these politicians are okay with us hating each other. But once you sit and speak with each other, it's like, hey, you're an American, I'm an American. And we seem to get along. But it's these politicians that continue to drive hate into the heart of the American people. And it's from both sides. It's not just one side. While the economy suffers from inflation, some drug prices are already starting to rise. However, a new study conducted by research in Boston showed that Medicare could save $3.6 billion by just rerouting their purchasing through billionaire Mark Cuban's new drug company, the Mark Cuban Cost Plus Drug Company. Ooh, that's a mouthful. Basically what it is he has gone in as a billionaire and he has negotiated lower drug prices and then only placed a 15% markup instead of a 100, 200, 300, 1,000% markup. And so they're now saying, wait a minute, if we're not going to negotiate directly with these drug companies, maybe we bypass the drug companies and go to a billionaire who was smart enough to negotiate with them and save ourselves about $4 billion and pass that savings on to the American people. So you might want to look into his drug company if you're buying prescription drugs for yourself, but also this could be a huge money saver for the citizens and taxpayers of the United States down the road. The Supreme Court is now expected to release their decision about Roe versus Wade any day now. Some estimate this could come as early as Thursday or Friday, while others say it's going to be several weeks as they are anticipating widespread rioting if it doesn't go the way of those that are interested in keeping abortions open. There is a group by the name of Jane's Revenge that are burning down pro-abortion 501c3 charities, and they're handing out flyers calling for there to be rioting and damage in order to show that you will not put up with unsafe abortions. So they're basically calling for mass riots and mass destruction. I'll give you a quick update on the $2,400 a year Social Security benefit program increase. The expanded Social Security Act is gaining support among Democrat leaders as a new payment addition while Republicans are saying we need to figure out how to get more money into Social Security and save the program from going broke in the next 13 years. So it seems like at the end of the day, they kind of want the same thing, but one wants to hand out more money now and other wants to make sure that the other $1,000 you're receiving doesn't disappear 13 years from now. Either way, it would bring in more money, which means there would be more to give away, and it would lengthen this program by about another 90 years, which gives the next 2 or 3 generations time to better plan for retirement, so that they aren't so dependent on Social Security. But this is the situation that we live in right now. So there needs to be some kind of action to strengthen this program and help all of these people on these programs. I feel so bad. You know, there's so many seniors, tens of millions of seniors that have basically had to deal with this really, really high inflation, grocery prices, and gas, and they're not getting any assistance, right? There's no chance of a solid raise. I mean, our own government lies about the inflation rate so they don't have to raise them to the correct amount. I mean, it's really, really despicable. And yet at the same time, the only way to do that is to print more money, which causes more inflation. So they're definitely stuck between a rock and a hard place. I'm glad I'm not a politician, but this is the truth that we all are forced to deal with right now. So there is discussion about taxing the higher income earners in the United States. Instead of having that cap stop at 147,000, they would have it go higher than 250,000, and those people would pay in. The only downside to that is the more you pay in, the more you get out. So although in the short run it would bring in a much larger amount of money, in the long run it actually drains the program faster. And so they need to figure out what is the right balance for this program. Regarding the child tax credit program that helped about 60 million Americans last year, Senator Mitt Romney is alone calling for the monthly checks program to be reinstated for families with children. He said, we need to pass a bill that encourages families and marriage. It has become so expensive to raise kids today. He wants to see school-aged kids receive $250 a month, while younger children receive $350 a month until they go into the public school system. Romney said too many children and families are being hurt by old, antiquated DC policies that aren't built to support families and raising a family. He also said too many children are now falling into poverty and nutritional issues because their families don't have enough to take care of the next generation. Now, we need the next generation or else it all collapses and falls apart, right? And so he is trying to do that. And we'll see if he gets any additional Republican support and any additional Democrat support. So we could see something coming for those on Social Security Administration benefits. We could see something coming for families that are raising children. Ukraine's President Zelensky has stated that Russia is getting very nervous about Ukraine being inducted into the European Union. The European Union said that they will make a decision in the next few days on whether they want to bring Ukraine into the European Union. Now, some are saying that they want to because it's the right thing to do, while others are saying they can't afford to because it will literally cost hundreds of billions of dollars to rebuild Ukraine based on the amount of damage that they're dealing with. So it's a sad situation that seems to continue to get worse and worse each time we report on it. But this is my update for today. As I know more, I will definitely come on and share more with you. Make sure to get your name entered to be one of the winners of the $6,000 that Casey and I are giving away, thanks to generous video sponsors here on our channel. Now, before you go, I want to remind you that you are amazing. I appreciate you being in my community, and I'll see you on the next video.